Can you get more web design clients by using a cold emailing strategy? Well, that's precisely what me and my guests will be talking about in this very first episode of the WP show. So, Eric Jones and all the other ones, if you're watching this,
You didn't even look at my website. How are you going to lie to me?
and I'm like, what's going on, man? If you were a WordPress plugin, which plugin would you be? So let me introduce you to Jeffrey from Lightbox. I was actually introduced to Jeffrey by just watching a YouTube video about his journey and his story with web design. Let me just let Jeffrey introduce himself.
All right. What's up, Kay? Hey, thank you for inviting me on the show. Really excited to be here. And I love talking about the business of web design and everything about it. Yeah, I just love it, man. I love web design. The freedom that it gives is definitely life-changing.
And you also run a private group. So what is the name of the group?
So started and run building businesses with Elementor. We also now are on the Elementor hub too. So we got a home over there. Recently I was made an Elementor leader. I'm a big time Elementor enthusiast. So yeah, if you use Elementor, it's all good.
Okay, so back to the topic of today, which is cold email versus warm outreach. So Jeffrey, first of all, tell me, what do you think about cold emailing? And then I will let you know what I think about it.
Well, first thing I think about is Eric Jones. You ever got an email from that dude? I understand it. I do understand. I understand that it does get results and it does work to a certain point. So there's that part. But I look at my own personal experience as well. And I try to think about clients on how they feel as well. And how do you want to start a relationship off with a client? There's a lot to go into right here. Like one thing I like to think about is how somebody got my email. How does that make somebody feel? There's a lot of areas right here. And I think this is a question that anyone looking to get clients by email campaigns needs to think, how do they want to start that relationship with a client? And what kind of clients do you want to find? What kind of projects do you want to find? So I think that's why this is a good topic about the cold email versus the warm email, or like the warm outreach.
Yeah, personally, and most people who know my channel know about this, but I really hate cold emailing. I never answered those emails. I don't think I ever answered one of those emails once in my life. So Eric Jones and all the other ones, if you're watching this, I'm never going to answer. So yeah, this is something I really hate, and because I hate it, I'm not going to do it to other people. So I don't really like it, and I know it works for some people. I'm just saying it doesn't work with me and with many other people that I know of. So I think there is a better way, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But maybe we can play devil's advocate and give our pros and cons to cold emailing. So Jeffrey, as a guest, you can start the pros and the cons of cold emailing.
Well, I don't think there's any more pros I could really give. I'll be honest. I was just being really nice right there to like start it off because my feelings are the same. I can't really think of pros to it. I mean, the one pro is like if you buy, 100,000 emails, you send out mass campaigns, you'll get a couple projects out of it. That's the only pro to it. But at what cost? And I think that is the issue right there. Like at what cost? I mean, if we just look at how this process really goes. How were those emails received? A lot of the times those emails are received from somebody breaking an agreement in somebody's trust, like another company, like maybe you gave them your email to sign up, did not get permission to receive emails. And usually it's from some company that, lacks ethics and stole that information. I feel like it is theft, stole that information and then sold it to another third party reseller that is going to sell all that. So, when I see and I get these emails, I feel like somebody stole my email and they took it without my permission. And that right there is going to start off everything on a very bad note because we're going to start off a relationship with no trust at all. And it's just not a way to really start it off. So I really cannot think of any pros when it comes to it. And what do you think, Kay? Like, how do you feel like the warm outreach? Like, how that could really do more for someone versus buying, spam email lists to spam out.
Well, I'll get to that in a moment, but first of all, let me give you my pros and cons about the cold emailing.
All right.
So, when it comes to the pros, there's only one pro in my opinion, is that this is something you can start with just your phone and an email account. So that's the only pro basically. So if you want to start working today, you can start doing it. But like I said, that's the only pro, because all the rest, in my opinion, is negative. It makes you look cheap. It makes you look desperate. And in our line of work, and many lines of work, if you look desperate, you're only going to attract desperate people, desperate clients, clients with red flags. Even if by some miracle you manage to get some business, I don't think it's the kind of client, I don't think it's your dream client. And to answer your question about warm outreach, actually, that's what I practice every day. Maybe in a different way that some other people do. But I think there's so much difference when it comes to first the relationship you have with your clients, and then the type of clients you attract. Initially, when I was getting started as a freelancer, I was very well ranked when it comes to Google. So for like 3 years, I was between number 1 and number 3. So I got a lot of traffic, but I only got cheap clients, people typing
cheap websites.
And that was the way to get ranked if you really wanted the traffic. So I attracted those type of clients. And while I had some great clients, because I'm not saying that because they don't have money, they're bad clients. I'm just saying I was trying to get more for the work I was doing, and I got some great clients. But I also got an army of clients with very little budget and very high expectations, a lot of red flags, and it was not really enjoyable. And then a friend of mine introduced me to a business networking group. And this is not the Illuminati, don't worry. This is just regular business. And I started going to those groups, and then the narrative completely changed, because I was introduced to people and they trusted me because they were introduced by a person they trusted. So the discussion was not really about the price, even though price, of course, is still important, but the discussion was not about that. The discussion was about, can you help us reach out our goals? And if you have good people skills, and if you have good web design and development skills, you're going to get the business. So instead of spending a lot of time trying to get more business out of cold emailing, even if I don't do it, I just started doing this. So this is my way of doing warm outreach, because I'm not spamming people. I'm being introduced, and then I listen to them. I try to find a solution to their problem. I show my credibility by showing past work and the clients I work for, and then I get some business every week.
Yeah. Yeah. The key word that I heard there was trust. That's such a major factor. Gotta have trust. You gotta have people that trust you. Just last week, I got one of those spam emails. I get tons. All right. So if anybody's watching this and you're wondering how it is for this side getting emails, I get about, I don't know, dozens of them every single day. I got one. All right. I got one, and they said, "Hey, Jeffrey, did you know that your website is not responsive? You need a responsive website nowadays in order." I'm like, you didn't even look at my website. How are you going to lie to me? How are you going to lie to people? And that was my first instinct. It's like, you liar. You just lied to me, because my website is responsive, obviously. But that right there, just like, how are you going to build trust when you are not showing integrity, or there's no like ethics, or just any honesty going on? So you can never start a good relationship with a bad note like that. And then also today, people are more aware of a lot more scams, and they're happening more and more often now. And I get it; it's tough times. There's a lot of desperation going on throughout the world right now during these times, but also a lot of people are getting ripped off and going through that. So there's a lot of awareness going on. But on the flip side, like you mentioned about going to networking events and actually connecting with somebody over there, that could still be done by email. Because if I get an email and somebody just messaged me like, "Hey, Jeff, I saw your video, it really helped out. I really liked this," and like really says something in there that shows that they actually watched the content, that they learned from it, and they just said that, and it's like, "Thank you." That's it. I'm going to read it. I'll probably even, and I will, I'm not probably, I will take time to respond. Now, if you're spamming someone, you're not taking any time. You're not taking time to like really show that you care. So what I wonder is, instead of buying 100,000 emails and hoping one of them or five of them land you really bad paying projects, why not come up with 100, look at 100 people's websites and reach out to each one of those people individually, just 100 of them individually. Say, hey, I went to your website. I noticed this, this, and this. If you were to do this right here, I think it would really help you out. If you want to learn,
Mhm.
if you want, I could help you a little bit more if you have time for a call. And just do
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, it's going to take more work, but I guarantee you, you're going to get projects that way. So why not do something on that level?
Yeah. Actually, one idea I introduced to my audience was to create mini audits. This is something you can do because this is something usually I do when someone comes to my office and we start discussing about their website. I do a mini audit live. And usually, what happens is that the person in front of you realizes that you know what you're talking about. Because let's face it, web design and web development industry is a jungle. Anyone can say, "Oh, I'm an expert," blah blah blah. You know, and it's funny because on some of those groups that you find online or forums or other social media, you see people come into these groups, private groups, and they say, "Well, I just landed a client for social media marketing. Can you help me because I don't know anything about social media marketing?" And I'm like, "What's going on, man?" Just imagine if you go to the doctors and the doctor say, "Okay, yeah, I'm a surgeon. Yeah, I can help." And then they run into the next room where you find real doctors and say, "Can you help me because I just landed this
Or jump
client?"
on Reddit.
Exactly. That's crazy. So you need to first demonstrate that you have the ability to do what you say you can do. And the mini audits really help. It doesn't take long. You can do it live. And if you want to reach out to someone and you're not in the same physical space, you could create a small video. That's going to show that you actually spend the time, like Jeffrey said, because you were talking about that time when someone came to your website and said he was not responsive. I had something funny. Someone reached out to me and said kind of something similar, but not about being responsive, but how they could make my website better. And then when I looked at the website, they had been using 3 of my tutorials because I recognized, the navigation and some other things. Just to be sure, I went to look into the code and they even forgot to remove the comments that sometimes I put in my code. So they were reaching out to me using my tutorials and telling me they could help me. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, you need to show people that you have a genuine interest and that you can help. And I think that's really crucial because people can feel the BS a mile away, especially people like us. But most people can actually feel it.
You know, it kind of it's funny you said about the jungle because it does feel that way. And I've had people ask like, "Do you think there's even room? There's so many web designers out there. Somebody needs to get a website built." Well, they're getting 50 emails a day for somebody trying to build their website with them. So why would anyone get into web design now? Wouldn't that doesn't it feel like it's oversaturated? But I feel like it needs more people. It needs more valuable designers. Designers that are gonna not valuable. Designers that are gonna want to offer value. You got web design. You got businesses. You got the 90% that just want a cheap website. They don't understand the value of it, and they are the red flags. They're the red flags. That's the 90% of it. Then you got the 10%. Those are the ones that really want somebody that's there for them. They want quality, they understand value, and they're ready to pay for it. But it's like 99% are trying to go after the 90%, and I'm just making these numbers up right now, but this is how like it feels, and it is. But everybody's going after that bottom 90% of clients that just don't want to pay anything. and that don't really
Mm.
understand. And nobody wants to go after the quality clients. So you could either go after those lower tiers like everybody else and try to compete by lowering prices as much as possible, or you could go after the quality clients, the clients that are going to be a pleasure to work with, that are going to be helpful, the clients that are going to help your business grow, and the ones that you could charge reasonable, sustainable prices and have a good living with, that
Yep.
most people are just don't want to go after for some reason. And it comes down to, what kind of a business do you want to run? What kind of clients do you want? Do you want a client
Exactly.
that wants to, yeah, do you want a client that wants to choose you based off of price? Or do you want a client that's going to choose you because they trust you're going to deliver the value that they need? And one of the most common that I get nowadays for the spams are going to be, or the just a cold out email outreach, are going to be agencies wanting to help my agency. They're going to be like,
Yeah.
does your agency need help, like with development? We do, they'll list like 20 different programming languages, that they could help out with. But like, what message does that bring? Like, what are you really looking for? Because if you're looking to hire, like looking for my agency to outsource from you without giving me anything, without showing me that you're willing to take a small step to like get to know me, and like, take that small step to get to know who you're messaging, I think the only hope you could get is to find an agency that wants cheap outsourced labor. And I'm against cheap labor. I'm not for it. I'm always against cheap labor. I don't like web designers being treated cheaply, but we need to stop treating ourselves like that with these kind of emails and like really think, what do we want?
Yeah, it's a never ending race to the bottom if you compete on price. It's never going to stop. If you're going to compete on the bottom, how low can you get? And which means you need to get much more clients. You're going to be more stressed out. And something I also realize is that when someone wants to invest in their own graphic design, web design, they're going to treat you better. If they see you as someone cheap, they're not going to respect you. That's the sad reality. Because maybe you have a lot of value, but what you're conveying with your pricing is that you don't trust yourself, you don't have any confidence, and you feel like you're worth that pricing. And that's what people will see. So I'm not saying you should have crazy expensive prices, but you should have the right price based on your experience, on where you live. Also, the market where you live, where you make business is also part of the equation. If you're just going to say, okay, I can build you the cheapest website. I mean, honestly, I'm just saying in my experience, those people, they ask around. And it's not about the pricing. And today, I'm happy to report that I love my clients. When I go into a meeting with my clients, I actually love it. And this is something I wish for everyone. And that's the kind of clients I want to attract. And I bet you it's the kind of clients you want to attract too.
Man, I love that, dude. I love getting off a call with a client like, man, my client is awesome, dude. My client, this is a dope client. And like, like right now, in fact, I just had a meeting a week ago with my team. And we're wrapping up a couple projects, so we're like back-to-back meetings with our clients, and every single one of them was awesome. I'm like,
Yeah.
look, at all of our clients are super dope right now, and cheap clients are the worst. I mean, I don't know if I could
Indeed.
put that too. I don't know if that was too blunt. I'm being really blunt right now.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
true.
really blunt today. But clients that choose based off of how much cheap labor they could get, they are going to be the most difficult clients to work with. They are going to be the clients that have scope creep. They're constantly wanting to do revisions. Those are the clients that
Yeah.
are going to disappear on you. They're going to straight out disappear on you. Those are going to be the clients that will not pay on time, or they're going to, not present, give you the content and just hold that paycheck. It's stressful. It is so stressful when you have to wait for your paycheck and think, is this client going to pay me? These are not the kind of clients to get. It is possible to get clients you care about, that care about you as well, to build relationships with. And it all comes back down to, what kind of relationship do you want with the client? And how do you want to start that off? If you start off that relationship, You could outreach. Outreach is no problem. It works well. It's about the character and like showing that you actually care. It's not about where you're located. I really don't
Mhm.
think somebody should be charged a low price because where they're located. In fact, I will not pay a low price. I want to pay a high price. I don't care where you're located at, but all I care about is quality. Before you give me estimates, don't give me anything cheap because I don't want cheap work. My clients
Yeah,
don't want cheap work. And that's what you want to look for because there are people like me out there, lots of them, that just want quality. In fact, it is hard to find quality. It is hard.
true.
As an agency owner, it is risky outsourcing and hiring someone else because every time I hire somebody else that we haven't worked with yet, it's a very big risk. And many times I've lost money. Many times I've had to
Yeah.
lost that work, I've had to lose time, and I've had to rebuild. That's why I would rather pay more to get it done right. But finding that quality is actually not that easy. If you could prove
Mhm.
you could provide that quality, man, the possibilities are open. There's so many possibilities with that. You've gone through
True.
that
And
before, 2K? Yeah.
yeah, actually, at one point, I was trying to outsource work in another country, which I won't name. It's a beautiful country, but it was interesting because as a business owner, of course, I want to make some profit and I need the people to be happy. So by paying them a very good amount for their market and still being able to have a nice margin, it was interesting for me. But the issue when it comes to business with this country is that the people there say yes to everything. So you can ask them, can you do this? Yes. Can you do this? Yes. They will say yes to everything, even if they don't know. And I found out the hard way. But I was clever enough to always ask people to work with my ecosystem of tools. So they had to use Elementor, WordPress, and all the tools that I use. And for that, they said yes also. But when I found out that the work wasn't good enough, at least I could do something about it. I had to do the work myself, but my client didn't see anything. They were happy. The work was done. I was able to save the day because I was smart enough to ask my potential partners to use the same tools I was using. But this really taught me a lesson. And like you said, Jeffrey, it's really hard to find actually good designers and developers that can really work to a, shall I say it, a corporate level. As a business owner, it's not my role to teach one of my potential partners to do that. I just need to give them the brief and then they need to deliver something up to the standards. And that's really hard to find, in my opinion.
Yeah, the challenge is nowadays, a lot of people are getting to web creation, which is awesome. Web creation is dope, and that's the reason why I love teaching it because I really want to encourage many people to get into it. But if it's approached like this is a job, like I need to get this done because I just need to pay my bills, and then expecting to get to that next level where you could deliver a professional website like in a year, it takes time, and that's where the energy really needs to be put. It shouldn't be put at how many clients can I get, and I just need to make money, because that's a way to set up for failure. Get good, and then just trust in the process that the projects are just going to come along. You get good, you're going to succeed. Because talent is not as common as spam emails.
Exactly.
there's more, there's so and that's the thing. When you are just sending mass emails out there, I feel like the approach behind it and the motivations are very straightforward. Just want to get work. That's it. We want to get as much work as we can and willing
Yeah.
to go low. But if you take that other approach, like I just want to get better, then you can start adding value and giving value. And then when you start giving that value to clients, they're going to see it. And wherever you're
Mm.
at right now, wherever someone is at, next year they're going to be so much better as long
Yeah.
as they're taking that kind of approach.
Let's imagine that you starting out, you just fresh starting out. You learn how to build website, maybe on a website like Treehouse or something. You've done a couple of cool projects and you want to get started. You don't know where to get clients. What would you do? So the way I would do it, and if you're part of my audience, you probably know it, but still, new people coming every day, thankfully. So the way I would do it is simply I would start working on a portfolio. What I would do is I would just look around where I live and I would spot like 3 businesses that have bad websites or no website at all. I would reach out to them and said, okay, I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse, because if I had to build your website, this is how much it would cost. But if you're willing, I'm going to offer the website, but with a few conditions. First condition, I have the final word on design. So I'm offering the gig, but it's for my portfolio, so I have the final words on how it will look. And the second condition is that you can never tell it was made for free. And yes, it's free work, and usually I hate free work. But if you really want to be in business and make money in a few months, you need to get the ball rolling. And that's one of the way of doing it. It could be a 1-page website, a 3-page website. And then you end up with 3 websites that people in your local area know because they know those brands. And the next time you're going to try to maybe go to a business networking group, as I talked about, and people are going to ask you, okay, send me a few examples of websites that you did recently. And you send those examples. There's a good chance that they know about those brands. So instantly you have more credibility. And that's how you can start. Get your first client, and then the second and the third, and so on. That's the way I would do it today if I had to start from scratch. So Jeffrey, how would you tackle that?
It's actually kind of funny because I made a video on this and a lot of people weren't happy about what I had to say about getting started, because one of the biggest challenges you hear that I hear is how to find clients and the struggle with finding clients. And for any new web designer starting off, I really believe that first year should be all about getting good. It can't make it about making money. You got to eat some noodles. I ate noodles my first year. I was broke. I didn't know how I was going to pay rent. Most of the time I barely got through, but I was so determined. I wanted it so bad. And I woke up every single day excited and happy to do what I was doing. So that first year, it really needs to be about developing skills, because one thing to understand is a website is part of somebody's business. It's part of it. And if it's done wrong, it could actually cause harm to their business. So we got that responsibility. And just like you said, look out for a couple local businesses and just offer to do it. It could be for free or it could be super cheap. I would try to put a little bit of a price tag, because what that's going to do is not only do you got to develop skills on how to build a website correctly, but you also got to learn how to develop skills on how to price, how to gauge scope. So that first year, I would be reaching out to people in the local community, and I would be straight up honest as completely honest. Like, I'm brand new. I just finished these courses. I'm looking to do this, and it'll really help me to build somebody's website, and in turn, I could do it for super cheap, really, really cheap. And you'll be surprised. A lot of people will take you up on that. And then when you get it, treat that client like they're the most important person in the world. And you do that and you build that relationship with them. And that is going to be the start of your business, because that relationship is going to grow. You're going to get referrals. You're going to get recommendations.
Now, as the first guest of the WP show, we're going to do a little quiz. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. So just a little quiz. So if you were a color, which color would you be as a web designer? Great. If you are a font, which font would you be?
Helvetica.
If you were a WordPress plugin, which plugin would you be?
I have to say Elementor.
Elementor Pro.
Elementor Pro. Yeah.
If you were a song, which song would you be?
Ooh. The Fire. That's with the Roots and John Legend. So that's what gets me through it, man. That Fire.
If you were a TV show, which TV show would you be?
Damn, I don't really watch TV much anymore.
No Netflix?
Not too much.
We know you like Netflix.
I would be Mr. Robot, because I wish I could be a hacker.
Okay. I need to watch this one. I haven't watched yet.
It'll hurt your productivity, man. Don't do it yet.
Okay, so that was so cool. So Jeffrey, thanks a lot for coming to the first episode of this show. So really appreciate having you here, and I hope we can do some more, and hopefully we can do some live ones also.
I just want to say thanks, Kay. I love what you put out there. This is the kind of content that's going to help. You're putting out content that's going to help people's lives, man. So I really appreciate it. Keep it going. Man, it's dope to connect. And yeah, thanks.
Thank you. So if you're watching this, if you're still here, make sure you go and watch Jeffrey's channel. You're not going to regret it. And every time I said that on this channel, people told me, yeah, you were right. So just go and check out this channel right now.